You are listening to a Hillbilly Horror Stories podcast TikTok mini. Subscribe to Hillbilly Horror Stories wherever you listen to podcasts. In a custom that many foreigners find shocking, the Toraja people of Indonesia keep their dead relatives at home, feeding and cuddling their bodies. Then, when they are finally buried, they dig them up once a year for a celebration. The Toraja people mummify the bodies of their deceased, and they care for the preserved bodies as though they are still living. They don't consider them dead, they consider them sick until they're buried. The Torajan people believe that after death, the soul remains in a house, so the dead bodies are treated to food, clothing, water, and even cigarettes. Their skin and flesh are preserved from decaying and rotting, which begins within days of death, by a coating of formaldehyde and water. The stench is so strong that the family stores dried plants beside the body to mask the odor. For the community, a well-preserved body brings good fortune, so families go to great lengths to ensure that those who have died remain in the best possible shape. Torajans learn from a very young age to deal with death and to accept it as part of the journey. In Toraja, it is customary to feed the deceased every day and to keep the corpse cozily bedded in a separate room of the home till the family can afford a proper funeral. Many people in the village say that the delayed burial helps the grieving process. Even after the dead have been buried in a mausoleum or a stone grave, it won't be the last time their relatives will come face to face with their body. In a ritual known as Manini, which means care for ancestors, and traditionally takes place in August, the dead are brought out from their graves, taken out of their coffins, washed of insects and dirt, given new clothes, and brought down to the village. As soon as the traditional coffins are dragged out of the tomb, the relatives put on surgical masks and begin to clean the body. After the cleaning, the body is set out in the sun for a while to dry. After the drying, the old clothes are removed and new clothes are put on. Friends and family will travel for miles to be reunited with their deceased loved ones and enjoy a feast to mark the occasion. It's also a time when younger generations can meet their ancestors for the first time. They will often pose for pictures with the bodies or take a selfie. Eventually, the dead will be returned to their coffin, and relatives will leave them with new gifts, such as watches, glasses, and jewelry. The ritual comes from a story that has been passed down from generation to generation and dates all the way back to 9 AD. To the modern world, the intimacy between the living and the dead may seem perverse, but in contrast, abandoning the elders, the sheer number of retirement homes, and outsourced tomb care would shock the Torajans.